What is that one?
Hey, 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 hey. Thank you, Russ. I thought I'd better get here early because I knew Greg Russell would be on time. Hey, Rob. Yeah. Janie.
Good morning. I'll have mine on mute so I don't make noises, but I'm just saying good morning now.
No worries. Good on you, Robin.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got you. Got you loud and clear, mate. I'm recording this one because Daphne wanted a copy of it, so I think.
Did you ask me if you can?
No. I don't need. I don't need.
A waiver.
No. I don't need to ask you. You're because you're helping me be more mature.
That's going to take a lot of work.
Hi, Robin.
We're in it for the long haul, so that's okay. We're praying for Jean. We're praying for Jean.
Thank you.
Right?
Hey, Roy, hey, Carol.
Hi.
I want to hear more about this dog in the food thing.
Yes, exactly. I knew you'd pick up on that, Roy, because
I will never forget that community service. when he said, if I locked Jean in the boot, she wouldn't respond like that.
I'm glad he's never tried it, Roy.
Yeah, good.
yeah, never tried it.
But it's true, absolutely true what you said, Greg. The dog would still be so pleased to see you.
Oh, yes.
But the point you made was that Jean would not be pleased to see you if you opened the boot. But the dog will be so excited to see you. That's exactly how it is with God. Yeah.
Very true.
Hello, everyone.
Oh.
We'll wait a few more moments. There's still people coming in. Marty's just come in.
Okay. Hi, Marty.
Excuse
Hey,
me.
that was great this morning going live like that. I know it wasn't intended, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Really, really good.
It was, yeah, about 9:45, and Joe goes, "We should just go live." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, all right."
No, you didn't quite go there.
What happened with the upload or what?
So Isaac was meant to send through his songs. Hey, Miriam. Hey, Marty. Oh, Katrina, yeah. But he never sent them in, so I had to rejig. I had to rejig the edit, and then it was late uploading, and then because it was late uploading, and then the internet was maybe a bit slow, so 5 o'clock yesterday to 8 o'clock today, only 76% had been uploaded. So yeah, we'll switch it up. Hey, Katrina.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. Is everyone well?
Yep.
Yeah, we're all well.
Good.
Hey, Tep and Joe, I thought it was awesome this morning. Never mind about technology. I actually thought it was really wonderful.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thanks.
I
Miriam.
don't-
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah, it felt good.
It did feel good.
It felt like people, because usually when you're recording, nobody's there, but it felt like people were
You had
Actually
more.
actually there
Yeah.
in real time.
Yeah, good.
No, not. What wasn't in? Okay.
Been getting out a little bit more in the last week, doing a few more things. Does anybody else?
Yes.
Yeah. Feels like life is slowly getting back to some form of normality. I went into church on Friday and I've officially measured the building and calculated like what's our maximum for the floor space, which is 45. We can have a maximum of 45 if we do the 4 square meters.
What about upstairs? Have a few upstairs. Up,
Yeah.
up in the balcony.
Yeah, no, I didn't add that bit.
Ideas guy.
Yeah.
This guy's an ideas guy.
Hang him from the rafters.
Yeah, I know. Count the ceiling space as well. So I marked all the floors so that people know how close they can be to each
Actually, if we go to the pub, we can be happy clappies.
It's not a bad idea to see if I don't know, they can have 50 at a club. Would they let us? I still don't know that you can have like a meeting though. I'm not sure.
No, but they still have to socially distance and have the 4 square meter rule. So it's really have to be a huge space to have 50 people
Exactly.
all at the one time.
Yeah.
And also the rule is you cannot have a booking of more than 10 of a
Yes.
single
Oh, that's
group.
right. It is too.
Yeah.
It's much more focused on eating, like it's restaurant rather than
Yeah.
Everyone-
doing normal club activities, I think.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Take us right then.
I can see where this interview is going to be heading. I can see it now. Good.
Does everybody know about gallery view? Click the top right-hand corner for gallery view rather than speaker view, and you'll get all your images spread evenly over the screen.
You got that? Everyone can see everyone then.
Good. Well, we might get started. And so, as people come on, I'll let them in. But if we could all just mute yourself, and then I'll ask Greg a few questions and share a bit of his testimony. And then after that, we'll come back on and you can ask any questions that you want as well. Nick's coming on. All right. Good. Excellent.
The name I say, but then it's hard to compromise because the mate has the better pickup between the two. So I think if your intention is
Brendan there.
to record or use a PA system, then I'd go to the mate.
Good.
So, the thing is, the mate.
Nick,
There we go.
yeah. Okay, cool. Good. Well, thank you all for coming in, and thank you for to come in on our deep dive. We're interviewing Greg Russell this morning, and he's a valued member of our church, Cross Central, and he's going to share a bit about his testimony and a bit of his journey. So thanks for joining us, Greg. Jean, lovely Jean. Maybe we'll start off by asking how you ended up in Bateman's Bay. How long you've been here in Bateman's Bay, and how you ended up here?
Well, it was about 35 years ago. I was living in Sydney and working. I was working in a big bakery, and I left that to have a few months off work. And I had this old Triumph motorbike I bought in pieces, which I was rebuilding. And then where I was living, the time went by and the money started running out. And where I was living, they were advertising for a baker at Woolworth. And I thought, yeah, it's good. I can go and walk to work. So I applied for the job on Friday morning, and the guy, he seemed okay and keen, and he said, "How do you feel about working in the country?" And I said, "Well, I wouldn't mind that, but I just can't pack up and leave because I have a flat. I've got to give about 2 weeks' notice." So anyway, he rings back Friday afternoon and says, How about you help us out and go down to Bateman's Bay and work there for a week, because we've got a brand new bakery about to open and there's no one there. I said, where's Bateman's Bay? Well, actually, I had seen the signs from Braidwood. I had friends in Braidwood, and I seen the signs of Bateman's Bay, so I knew it was down south somewhere. Anyway, so I packed up a few things and rode down on my motorbike, and they put me up in a motel for a week. And then in that time, I sort of said, yeah, I like the place. So I found a house to rent, and then the next weekend I rode home, got my father's car and his trailer and another friend, and we packed up all my stuff. It wasn't much, only one trailer full, and I moved down here, and I've been here ever since. So that's how I arrived in Bateman's Bay.
Very good. Now, I understand you're a bit of a photographer. You like taking photos. Tell me how you got to be Nicole and Brendan's photographer for their wedding.
Well, they wanted the best.
So he wasn't available, so they got you.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah. So I was about the fourth one down the list. Yeah, my parents were very. My mum's a bit of an artist, and my father's into photography, and I sort of got that bit of a streak from my mum. I can't paint, but I take photos. I call it painting very, very quickly. And I was doing landscapes and that, and people was, I sold a few, and someone said, a friend of mine said, would you do weddings? And I thought, no, they're so different to doing landscapes. But then I got married to my first wife and started taking photos of her, which got my confidence up, and then I started to do a few weddings. I think the best year I had was 1999 and the year 2000. I did 16 and 17 weddings in those 2 years, which was on the side. I was still working in the bakery, so it was just like a sideline for me. And Nicole was going to the COC church where I was going, and then we arranged to do her photos. Actually, she still owes me money for it too, I think.
Well, next online, so just if you invoice her, she's
yeah. Okay, yeah. I think it was about $2,000 or something.
Yeah. Brendan would probably be the one to see, for the invoice for that one. Yeah.
Must be a bit of interest accrued over the years too there.
Yes.
So Greg, how long have you been at Cross Central now?
How long?
Yeah.
You call this last 2 months being at Cross Central?
Yes, correct.
Probably 3 years. 3 years this Easter or last year. So it's 3 years.
And how did you get to come to Cross Central?
I got the car and we jumped in the car and drove there. And well, Jean and I were talking about getting back to church. Jean went to the Baptist church where an old minister of she knew was preaching there, and it's been on both of our hearts to start going back. And then I went into town to pick up something from the post office, and there's Robbie Law there. And so we walked out and we're talking, and he said, "Oh, why don't you you should come to Cross Central. There's this really cool dude there as the pastor. He's Samoan or something. So I thought, I would know a few faces there. So yeah, so we turned up, and really we didn't try any other churches. There may be better ones. I think we should try other ones. Maybe better. We haven't looked back, and we found the church to be very genuine. People, love the Lord, and just became a family.
Yeah, and you guys are such a blessing to the church. I remember when you first, Robbie told me, he said, there's a baker that used to come to church and I'm invited to come to church. And I remember you guys came the first Sunday and just so quiet. And it wasn't until a little while later that I discovered your sense of humor, Greg, and discovered that it'd be probably better if you stayed quiet because you just such a quick wit. Yeah, it's been a one, and I think we did a formation group together, a men's formation group, and then from there, invited you to do communion, and the people just love you, love both of you, and your ministry to share what God's been revealing to you has been a great blessing to Cross Central. So thank you to both you and Jean.
Thank you.
Tell us a story about the helicopter ride. I'm pretty sure everybody's wanting to hear this if they haven't heard. The story of the helicopter ride from here to Sydney with the tube hanging out your ribs, if you would.
Yes, well, I had just met Jean, I think for about 3 weeks. I was working night shift at Bait Haven, and I used to go mountain bike riding. I go home, have a sleep, get up and go for a ride. It was a June day. It was a lovely, warm, winter's day. Went for this ride, and I came off and crashed down, and on my side hit a tree root, and I could feel there was. I knew I had some broken ribs, and I had trouble breathing. Anyway, so I got back on the bike and very cautiously rode out of the bush and went to a friend's place at Maloney's Beach. I was living at Long Beach at that time. And then he said he would drive me to the hospital. And I said, no, you're going to work soon. I'll drive myself so I can come back home. I'm thinking, I'm going to go to the hospital. They'll give me some painkillers. I'm coming home. So he drove behind me. Went to the hospital, and he went to work. I was there. This was about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got to see the doctor probably an hour or two later, and a few X-rays, and they said, "Look, sorry, you have a punctured lung." I'm thinking to myself, well, I've had broken ribs before, and it's no big deal. You get painkillers and you go home. And you hear punctured lung and broken ribs in the same sentence. So I'm thinking, well, it's no big deal. Anyway, the doctor said, I'm going to have to put a pipe in your side, into the sac around your lungs to suck out all the air and blood. And my pulse went sky high, my blood pressure went up. The nurse just took it, and she goes to the doctor. She's worried because everything is going sky high. And he said, I've just told him what's going to happen. Anyway, so this time goes. I mean, nothing is hurried in a hospital. That's just time goes on, and he comes out and he does it. And then there's talking about once the pipe's in, you can't stay here. I'm thinking, well, no, that's fine. I'm going home soon. Now, I rang Jean and said, look, I told her what happened. And she goes, you want me to come and see you? I said, no, look, I'll be back home tonight. Anyway, these two guys from the helicopter turned up, and they want to take me up to Canberra. This is in winter, and they shopped around for a hospital in Canberra, and it was getting heavy fog in Canberra, so they had to go to Sydney. Well, about midnight that night, I was in a helicopter going up to Sydney, up to St. George Hospital. Next morning, I rang up and Jean and told her where I was in St. George. Yeah, well, that's anyway. But I see that as a blessing, because I had just met Jean. We had been out for about 3 weeks, and I was working night shift and one day on the weekend. So we really only had 1 day a week to sort of see each other. I was off work for 11 weeks. So I had 11 weeks of her coming around and nursing me, and I was coming here, having dinner. So yeah, we in that time we got to know each other. So I look back at it as a blessing. It turned out to be at first it was a disaster, but then I see it now. I'm glad it happened, for that time that I got to know to really know Jean. And now I look back and said, I wish I didn't meet her.
Oh, you do not.
That's an interesting point you make there, Greg, because we've just finished a retreat in daily life, and part of the retreat has been, and Jean's been doing it as well, is reflection, looking back on and seeing where God has been in our lives. Could you speak to that for a few moments, like what you've sort of learned through the retreat, and also the importance of reflection and making sense of some of those things looking back?
Well, when we started doing this, I think you asked us, what are we looking for in this retreat? And I said, I'm looking for a better wife. Now, Jean has come leaps and bounds. Most of my bruises have almost gone.
Shocking.
Yeah, the move down to Bateman's Bay, I see that as God's plan. I mean, I didn't know where Bateman's Bay was. I was just after a job, and I would have been quite happy working in Canterbury Bar where I was living, and but I wouldn't have met Jean. I mean, it took a long time to meet her. I mean, I went through another marriage, but yeah. So I can see God's hand in my life all the time. I mean, there's one story. I was out shooting. My brother-in-law and I had 25 acres up near Cessnock. And we used to go and shoot a few kangaroos. He had some two big dogs. He used to use them for. And his younger brother and friend came out shooting with us one time. I mean, we're walking along and we split up. I had my brother-in-law's younger brother's friend behind me, and we see these two roos, and the roos stopped, and I stopped, and next minute I hear the bolt on the gun go back. I hear the gun go off, and a whoosh past my ear, and then it hit a tree stump up ahead. So it was like a fly going past. It was that close. So I see things like that. And another time, working on this property, we made this shed, and we had this Rio, the reinforcing steel, but it came in a roll. And my brother-in-law was standing on the end of it, and I was unrolling this big roll of Rio. I got to the end where the roll was tighter and tighter, and I gave it this big yank to try and unwind it, and I pulled the Rio out from under his feet, and it sprung back, and two prongs went either side of my face, and the bar hit straight down my nose, and it knocked me on my back. It was that much force, I just got knocked off. That we worked out there would have been two prongs there with a bar. The prongs could have gone in my eye or in my temple, anywhere. So yeah, I see God. I see God. I mean, when we get to heaven, God's going to play you a video of your life, and you go, oh, you were there. Oh, you were there. I didn't know you were there then. Oh, there was two sharks there. I didn't see those two sharks. So yes, I mean, does that answer your question, Tucker?
Yeah, exactly. Good. Jean, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, she doesn't.
Give Jean a chance for rebuttal.
I don't know. Well, I think Greg's been a blessing in my life too, so I'm very, very grateful for God stepping in there.
Yeah. Well, you guys are a beautiful part of our family here at Cross Central. So, yeah. One of the things that we also do here at
Deep Dive.
At the Deep Dive is we go into people's we go into people's Facebook accounts, and we just get some photos. So we do a deep dive into the photos. So and if you could just tell us, what's going on here, Greg?
Well, I think that's quite obvious. We're off on a hike. That's when G and I got married. We flew up to the Gold Sunshine,
Yeah, the Gold Coast.
the Gold Coast, and we drove down to this little place called Crystal Creek.
Crystal Creek Rainforest.
Crystal
Retreat.
Creek Rainforest Retreat, and we got married. That's the spot we got married in.
Beautiful.
There was me, Jean, the lady who did the ceremony, and 2 other people.
Yeah.
I love
People
that.
that owned the retreat that we didn't know at all were witnesses.
Oh, wow.
And that was 2014.
2014. Well, you know, they usually say that the measure of a man is his wife, and it looks like you're punching way above your pay grade there, mate. So it's a beautiful.
Me or Jean?
No, you. I'm talking.
Oh,
about
man.
you. Yeah.
You might notice too, Tepper, that Greg was actually our wedding photographer.
What was it?
All our wedding
I
photos.
did all the wedding photos.
Yeah, nice. Very frugal of you, Greg.
Yes. Do you want to hear the story of how we got engaged?
Yeah, go.
Okay, well, Jean had been asking, I had dropped a few hints, and I sort of asked for her finger size, and I bought this ring, and the time went by, and then I said, we went for a hike up Mount Dromedary.
Mate, hang on,
And
hang on, wait, sorry. You asked for her finger size?
To buy the ring. I mean, so I went, I don't know how I did it, but anyway.
It was months prior to it going on this hike, and I was busy talking to someone else, and I didn't really think anything of it.
So anyway, we're hiking up Mount Dromedary, and Jean's getting a bit tired. And I think, we're not there yet. So we stopped and had a rest, and I said, do I do it here or do I keep going? Anyway, so she felt a bit better. So we did the last bit. The last bit's a bit steep, and I was probably 50 metres in front of her. And up the top of Mount Dromedary, there's this big pile of rocks right on the peak. So it's raining, and I'm sweating and that. And I sat this little box on this rock. Anyway, Jean arrives, and there's no one else up there. And she looks past, didn't see it. Looks past again, didn't see it. Then she looks again and goes, "What's that?" And I don't know. Go and have a look. So she walks over, and there's this little ring box, and she looks at me. What's going on? We'll have a look. So she picks up this box, opens it up, and there's this beautiful, amazing ring, engagement ring. Anyway, she had sweat on her face, she had tears on her face, and had rain on her face, and she's over the moon. So I asked her to marry me, and she said, "Well, we'll see." She said yes. And then I noticed her walking down. She's looking at the ring. The whole time she's walking down, almost walking off the cliff and that. And she's, they're just looking at this ring.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story.
It was a real surprise.
Yeah, lovely. Now, one of the things I like about you, Greg, is your beard, and I think all men should have beards. I think it's part of just our, you look through the Bible, and all godly men had beards. Jesus had a beard, so there's just something about beards that are manly and wonderful. And ever since I've known you, you've had a beard. Even here, you've had a beard. And when I was going through your deep dive, it was hard to find any photos. You've just got bikes on your Facebook. They're just motorbikes and trail bikes. But I did come across this photo. Now, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, wow.
With no beard?
No.
What's going
Actually,
on?
I've only had the beard since 2014, I think.
Yeah, since I've known you.
Yeah.
Very good. And you're a Rabbit supporter, is that right? You're South Sydney?
Yes, I am a big one.
Good. Yes, I noticed that. think so. What's going on here in this photo?
Oh, the Yellow Rock. What's that day we walked to Yellow Rock?
What's this? This photo? Actually, that's Yellow Rock, Tipper. It's Jean and I hiked
Yellow
in.
Rock. That's Yellow Rock.
Yellow Rock.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Because we were speaking about Yellow Rock this week. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. All right. To stop share. And one last thing that we do is 2 truths and a furphy, right? And so this will be our last thing for
The 10 Commandments. I think number 9 says, "Thou shalt not tell furphies."
Correct.
So is it okay to tell a furphy, or is it not okay to tell?
In the context of our game, well,
Right,
you
okay.
shall not lie. Okay, that's what so that's why I called it 2 truths and a furphy. It's not actually a lie; it's a furphy.
I think it's telling furphy, don't it?
Can you just play the game, please? People wanting to know.
Okay. Number 1, I have a family member has won the Melbourne Cup as a jockey. Number 2, my first car was a Mini Minor Cooper S. Number 3, I wore female jeans to a work Christmas party one year.
All right, you can all come off mute now and have a bit of a chat.
All right, come off mute. I reckon it's the coupe. I reckon it's the Mini Coupe. I don't reckon that was his first car because I can see him in some female jeans. This guy. What do we reckon, folks? What do we reckon?
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Tepper. It's the Mini Coupe.
Mini.
What was the first one?
A family member won the Melbourne Cup and as a jockey.
Yes, I could imagine that. I can't see you getting in a Mini. You're too tall.
So you're saying that being tall as a jockey's okay?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, does tallness run in your
Yeah, but
family?
he said
Would you
somebody
have
in
a
his
small-
family. He didn't say it was him. He said somebody in his family.
Yeah, should we give them that?
The Mini Coupe may have had a sunroof.
All right, so let's vote, right?
Hang on. Miriam didn't say anything yet. Miriam, what do you reckon?
I think it's number 3.
All right, so let's vote. One, 2, or 3. All right, we vote with our fingers because he asked the finger size of Jean, so we'll vote with our fingers. I reckon it's so 1 is the Melbourne Cup, 2 is the coupe, and 3 is women's jeans. So I reckon 2. All right, 3, 2s, 1, 2s. All right, Gregos, tell us.
The furphy is the Mini Coupe.
Yes!
Yeah!
Hey!
Knew it.
I'm 6'4". I wouldn't fit in one.
No, that's what I said. I've been in several of those. There's no way you get in there.
Yes. Very good.
I like it for a different reason. I thought, how on earth could anybody afford a Mini Cooper S for their first car? That's why I thought it was.
Yeah, nice.
The Melbourne Cup, my grandma's cousin was a jockey, and he won the Melbourne Cup in 1938.
Wow.
Fred Jean. You what? Sorry, Katrina?
No, I just said wow.
Oh, yeah. So there's jockeys in my blood. And with the women's jeans, we were going to a works Christmas party for Jean. And she said, "Oh, go and get ready." You know, I said, "Where's my jeans?" And she goes, "They're on the bed." So I walked in, grabbed this pair of jeans, put them on. She's doing her makeup. I said, "Are these my jeans?" She said, yeah. Just put them on. Yeah, get ready. We're late. So I put them on, and we go out and have a party and come home. She didn't realise until she did the washing that my jeans weren't in the wash and hers were. And she goes, You did wear my jeans. Now, I just want to add what is said on deep dive stays on deep dive. Pepper, I'm looking at you.
It's being recorded and I'm uploading it to Facebook right now. It's hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Well, Mr. Bean did drive a Mini. If you watch Mr. Bean, and he had a Mini Cooper that had got a roof back, and he stood up.
He did.
Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah. So you could have done that.
Yes.
Good. Well, thank you, Greg and Jane, for coming on this morning. Anybody have any questions? I'm just thinking of that David Bowie. Is it David Bowie? Genie?
Yeah, that's David Bowie.
That's David Bowie, yeah. You literally wore jeans.
Have you got Gracie sitting there between you? Show us the dog.
Oh,
Hello, Gracie.
You just woke her up.
Beautiful. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Greg or Jane?
We wouldn't dare ask anymore. We never know what the reply is going to be.
I know. You got to be careful when you have a conversation with this guy because he's like a ninja. He's like a ninja. Just you ask him one thing and something else comes from somewhere else.
Oh, no. Oh, dear.
Okay, then, what's the difference between those tradie pies and the normal beef pie?
The tradie pies has real bacon in it.
yes.
Oh,
It's the same beef, but it's got we bake off some real bacon.
Yeah.
And they're bigger. And they're bigger.
They are bigger.
They're my husband's and my son's favourite. Yeah, they love them. Yeah.
What's your
So the
favourite
normal
pie,
pie-
Greg? What's your favourite?
Pepper steak pie. That was pepper steak, not pepper pig.
Good.
You said the tradie pies have real bacon. Does that mean the others have fake bacon?
We buy bacon off shoulders and it's diced already. Where the tradie pies actually has some of that in it, but we get real bacon and it gets cut up and fried, then it's put on top. But I can't tell you any more secrets, right?
Okay.
What's your favourite thing to bake?
You only really do pies and bread.
Okay, I'll answer that, but you answer me this. What's your favourite part of housework?
Well, none of it.
Yeah, well, it's just, there's no favourite. It's just work. You just do it.
Fair enough.
I mean, all the pies are baked on one rack, so you bake the whole lot in one time.
Do you bake those fruit pies? So yesterday I bought one for my grandson. It was delicious and he loved it. It had strawberries and custard and stuff on it.
Oh, a fruit tart.
Yeah, do you bake those?
No, but I was there when they were made.
Okay.
I was supervising.
Okay. Well, he absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Mm. Yep. Your cherry pie is really good too. The one with cherries and custard, fantastic.
All right. Yep.
And the rum balls.
How often do you go there?
Katrina's a
Well,
regular.
I think it's important, during this time to support local business. So, I reckon it's important. So we've been very good customers lately.
And talking to Greg, business has been very good, hasn't it, Greg?
We're back to normal. I mean, we have been for weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good.
that's good.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right.
church is grateful for getting the leftovers on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Always-
Well, the
always say
boys
that,
enjoyed the pies last night.
Yeah, I did drop off pies to the.
Yeah, they ate them. They thought they were good. The boys liked them.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you everybody for coming in. Sorry again for the mix up with our upload. Hopefully we'll be back online again next week. But it's wonderful to see everybody, and thank you, Greg and Jean, for coming in.
And Tepper, you'll send the check in the mail, will you?
No, I'll send around a packet of bacon.
You should make him a pie.
Yeah, I'll send you a pie. A mud pie. But yeah, so we'll keep you posted on developments. Like Joe said this morning, that we set out the chairs and everything. So we might start doing, I don't know, maybe groups or something at church.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we stay legal and be safe. But yeah.
I thought actually there's quite a few girls here from Craft. I thought we could run we can only have 10, but we could do a craft Sunday afternoon or something. Or an evening.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So stay in contact, and yeah, we'll let you know as things unfold. So thanks again, everybody, for coming into our deep dive. Thanks, Greg and Jean. God bless you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
See ya.